If you're being patient with an avoidant right now, I need you to hear me clearly. Patience is not helping. It's actually quietly killing attraction. And if you keep doing this, you will lose them, not because they're avoidant, but because attraction is not going to be able to survive it. Now, a lot of people pride themselves on being patient. They think it means that they're mature, emotionally regulated, understanding, and they tell themselves, well, I'm not chasing, I'm doing this the right way. But patience, when it turns into passivity, does not preserve attraction. If anything, it actually slowly erodes it. And people believe that patience equals love, that understanding keeps the door open, that if they don't pressure someone, the avoidant will eventually feel safe enough to come back. And that sounds reasonable, right? But attraction doesn't respond to patience. It responds to energy, polarity, and movement. So, first, let me define what I'm actually talking about. I'm not talking about staying calm once. I'm not talking about giving someone a day or two of space. And I'm not talking about being emotionally regulated. I'm talking about long-term emotional availability without any forward movement. And before we go any further, you need to recognize what that actually looks like. So what that means is people are usually waiting weeks or months for clarity while telling themselves, well, they just need time, or responding warmly to breadcrumbs with no follow through, or accepting vague messages like, I miss you, with no change in behavior. Or it can look like staying emotionally available, but meanwhile nothing progresses, or avoiding real conversations because they don't want to scare the person off. So that's not patience, that's actually self-abandonment. So if patience is not the answer, then the question is, well, what does work without chasing, without pressuring, and without playing games? So what actually works is a clean pullback. And a clean pullback looks very different depending on where you are in the dynamic, because this situation shows up in two phases. And by the way, if we have not met, my name is Lucia with The Art of Love. I'm a dating and relationship expert specializing in helping you get your ex back or to get over your ex. And if you do know me, welcome back, my beautiful no contact army. Okay, so let's talk about the two phases. So phase one is when they've already pulled away or broken up with you. So this is, of course, there's been a breakup or the relationship has been clearly downgraded, communication is inconsistent or unclear, and you're no longer moving forward as a couple. So here, patience backfires immediately. They've already started emotionally detaching, and your patience actually removes the last bit of urgency. You think you're keeping the door open, and meanwhile, they feel free to leave without losing anything. And what a clean pullback looks like in phase one is, yes, no contact. And it also means that you stop initiating, you stop emotional availability, you stop processing the relationship with them, you stop responding to breadcrumbs, you accept the reality of the breakup. And anything else in this phase is not a pullback, it's lingering attachment. Now, there's also phase two, and this is when you're still dating. And this is where also people get confused, because a clean pullback here doesn't mean that you don't disappear. It doesn't mean no contact. And it doesn't mean never initiating again. So, instead of thinking, well, I just won't initiate anymore, or I'll wait and see if they chase, I'll be distant and see if they feel it. That's not a clean pullback. That's still chasing. Okay? You're just being quieter. So what it actually looks like, first of all, the clean pullback has to be internal first. So something shifts inside you, and then external. So you don't pull away, but you pull back your over investment. So you stop initiating extra contact in order to maintain closeness. You stop escalating emotionally when they aren't. You stop compensating for their lack of effort. Basically, you stop carrying the emotional weight of the connection. But you still respond when they reach out. You still engage warmly when they engage. And you initiate when it feels natural, not when you're anxious. So you're present, but you're no longer propping up the relationship. So it's neutral. You want to be neutral. You want to be Switzerland. Now, avoidant partners don't experience closeness the way that anxious partners do. They need a certain amount of contrast and polarity. But when you're endlessly patient, so you're always understanding, always available, they do not feel drawn closer. They actually feel relieved. However, relief is not attraction. And by the way, if you're listening to this and you're realizing, oh my God, I'm doing all of this or some of this, then that is exactly what I work through with people in my coaching. And you can find the link to that underneath every single video and podcast. And that is theartoflove.net/coaching. And we will send you the rates when you reach out because they are not on the website. So I look forward to connecting with some of you, if not all of you. Okay, so you want to stop accepting half access. You want to stop keeping the connection alive by yourself. You want to stop rewarding vagueness with emotional availability. And you want to stop waiting when there's no movement. Because attraction doesn't just disappear dramatically. It fades quietly while you're being, quote unquote, understanding. So what works isn't pressure, it isn't patience. As I said, it's the clean pullback. And it's not to manipulate, it's not to punish, but it's to restore polarity and self-respect. So you stop over-explaining, you stop hovering, you allow space to do what patience never can, and that is to force clarity. And by the way, if you're not ready for coaching, but you know you need some support to stay grounded and not to slip back into your evil ways, then I have my app Silencio to help you stay in no contact, and the link to that is underneath every single video and podcast. And I also have my book, No Contact Secrets, and of course the link to that is underneath every single video and podcast, nocontactsecrets.com. Okay, so I know that if you're the type of person who's loyal and thoughtful and emotionally aware, that hearing this is uncomfortable. But attraction does not respond to how much you understand someone. Think about it. There have been people, I'm sure, in the past who understood you, but does that mean that you were automatically attracted to them? No, probably not. So attraction responds to what you tolerate and what you're willing to withdraw from. It responds to self-respect. So if you've been patient, hoping they'd come back, then you might want to revisit that and rethink that, because being patient with an avoidant doesn't save the connection. It either speeds up the exit or it keeps you stuck in the same loop, hoping that something changes. Okay, so now I want to hear from you. How long have you been in no contact and how is it going? And be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos and future episodes. And remember, love inspires, empowers, uplifts, and enlightens.